Hello and welcome to DynamicsCon. My name is Megel. I'm an enterprise architect at Cosmo Consult. And first of all, I want to thank DynamicsCon that makes this great event happen. Knowledge sharing is very, very important, and we all need a superpower. And that's why we are here. I have a superpower for you. And my superpower is application lifecycle management for Power Platform. So let's start over. First of all, we need to clarify some terms. Citizen developer. Everyone knows them. They are the Excel power users in a company, and they find the Power Platform. When a citizen developer starts developing some apps in Power Platform, it normally shares the apps with some colleagues, and he is collecting feedback from him. It's him part of the app, or him kind of application lifecycle management. It's simple for him. He shares the app, improve the app, collect feedback, repeat the same stuff. I am an enterprise architect and I'm a pro developer. For this, my view to application lifecycle management is totally different. I have a much more complex workflow. This means I start development. Afterwards, I collect the source code. I store the source code in pro developer tools like Git repository. I use VS Code and so on. And finally, I use Azure DevOps and pipelines to automate things, to generate from the source code an application, roll it out to an environment, collect the feedback from the users, and start again with my lifecycle and my workflow. It's a continuous workflow. But the citizen developer may need this because my workflow have a little bit more comfort. It's stable, it's reliable, all the things what I have learned as a pro developer. So the question is, how can we go both together? The citizen developer wants to use this. I'm, as pro developer, can share my tools, and for this I will do. In the beginning, we need also to clarify some basics about application lifecycle management. What I have learned in the beginning, you should separate development from testing from production. It's a key concept and you should use it. Everyone should be familiar with this. Development is a part where I change things, where I experiment with my apps and flows. Afterwards, I roll it out to a test environment. This environment is sealed only for testing of a couple of users. And when they say the app is perfect, it is rolled out to production where everyone uses the app. This avoids mistakes from my side, so that I forget something or I break the app. It is visible in the test environment and avoid trouble in production. For citizen developer, when he gets confronted with this environment concept, he mostly starts to roll out things manual. This means he uses his apps, deploy its apps, as well as its Power Automated flows. What might happen is you have, in this example, a relation between the Power App and the Power Automated flow. Everyone knows you can use it from a Power App. And when you only roll out the flow, you have changed something, you might break the Power App. In test environment, it's not a problem. You see it and you can correct your mistake. However, production is safe because you see what you have missed. But rolling out all the stuff manual and separate isn't a good idea. You know, Dataverse is based on CRM, and for this, in Dataverse are also solutions available. Solutions are packages for components like Power Apps, flows, Dataverse customizations, connectors, and all the fancy stuff. A solution itself have a unique ID and a publisher. The publisher describes who have developed the package to avoid any trouble with other publishers who have used the same names of components in the target environment. However, a solution can be managed or unmanaged. Unmanaged means you can modify the solution as well as you can export the solution. Managed means it is sealed and you only can import the solution and apply the changes to your target environment. This can be done by installing, as well as you can remove a solution completely by using uninstalling. It's a cool thing. So, enough for the basics. I have told you I want to share you a superpower, and it's hidden in the Center of Excellence from Microsoft. This is made by other superheroes to help us to adapt the Power Platform. You see, Center of Excellence is an open source collection of tools and components. They are made based on experience from huge enterprise customers, and they aim to adapt, admin, govern, and nurture the Power Platform. They have a lot of components inside of the ZOE, or Center of Excellence, starter kit. Some of the components are core components, which helps to find apps or some stuff to audit your Power Apps and flows. But at least there are some new components inside of the ZOE starter kit. They are the ALM Accelerator and the ZOE command line interface, the ZOE CLI. The good news is everything is open source and everything is available on Microsoft Docs. Use AKAMS as well as ZOE Starter Kit. To get a little bit more familiar with this, you see both of my favorite tools target a different audience. We have the ZOE CLI, it's more for the pro developer because it's a command line interface. And the ALM Accelerator for Power Platform, it focuses more the citizen developers because it makes things possible for them. ZOE CLI helps me as a pro developer to set up the Azure Active Directory. This means I need to set up an app registration to enable my magic to communicate with Azure DevOps, with the Dataverse environments, and therefore is some setup needed in all of these components. Furthermore, the ZOE CLI installs also the ALM Accelerator for Power Platform. Cool thing. On the citizen development side, he has used this tool in a totally different way. He wants to export or import solutions, commit solutions. This means he wants to store the solutions inside of a Git repository without touching the Git repository, because mostly he don't know what it is. As well as he wants to deploy solutions to the target environments. And for sure, if he develops, sometimes he needs also to delete a solution. Look at the ZOE CLI, and I've recorded this video previously to show you its command line, its PowerShell. And you have to answer some question to identify your environments and so on. But I don't want to bore you. The key facts is I use a simple command to generate a JSON file. This JSON file specify, for example, here my previously set up Azure DevOps organization and project and my repository where I want to store the source code of all the solutions. The second thing is it helps me to specify also my target environments. For this, we have the validation, test, and production environment. Validation environment is used inside of the context of the ALM Accelerator to check if something works well with importing before you move all the changes back to the repository. However, you can start after configuring this JSON file by using the SOE CLI, the install process. And to tell you the truth, it is boring to watching this. Therefore, I have skipped the presentation or the live demo and tell you the key facts. The SOE CLI during setup installs an app registration. It is used, as I previously told you, to communicate between Dataverse and Azure DevOps. It installs also the ALM Accelerator for Power Platform. And finally, it configures everything inside of my Azure DevOps project, where the magic happens. There it installs and provides me with some pipeline templates based on best practice of Microsoft. It prepares the connections to talk from Azure DevOps with my Dataverse environments. And finally, it set up some pipelines, some automation magic to import, export, and delete solutions. Everything what I need. Enough with the technical stuff. Let's look at the citizen developer part, the ALM Accelerator, because this is an easy way to work with all this magic in the background. It's a Power App, it's maker friendly, and you mostly don't have to invest too much into the technical details. And the best of all, Microsoft says, no advanced knowledge of ALM necessary. This is perfect for a classical citizen developer. Okay, let's separate the things. From my point of view as a pro developer, I'm responsible about governance and security. For this magic tool provides me with the source control, because it's in the background. It's previously set up with SOE CLI. So I have some fancy words like pull requests with build validation, all the stuff what a pro developer knows, but the citizen developer mostly not knows. It is to take the changes from my prepared branch to my source control. And finally, it have some automation to deploy my apps. The citizen developer instead focus more on development. For this, we need to prepare him the development environment. A development environment should be isolated, and you can create a development environment by using the developer plan of Microsoft. It is free for Power Platform users and enables you to work correctly with the Power Platform. After you have set up everything, the citizen developer can use, by using the tool, the automation stuff. Like he commit a solution, it means he stores the source code back to the Git repository in the background without doing some fancy commands in a command line interface. He can import a solution, he can deploy a solution. Basic tasks, simplified for the citizen developer, but they are part of the application lifecycle management process. And finally, he can also prepare the deployment configurations for his apps to the target environments. This means he can specify with who his app is shared and who should be the owner of a Power Automate flow. Perfect. To summarize all the stuff, the ALM Accelerator is just the whole environment. We have on the left side the makers. We have in the center part the magic, where the things makes happens. And finally, you have on the right side the environments. This means makers develop apps parallel, use one tool, and this tool triggers Azure DevOps in the middle with all those pipelines, which transfers the created solutions to the downstream environments. Enough about talking let's focus on the middle part. So you want to see some cool stuff. Here's the Power App, which is shared with the users. This means, first of all, I start over into my environment and you see I find my solution. And for this, I need to configure something because of I need to set up a solution profile. A solution profile describes what should happen with the solution inside of this tool. This is something normally what I prepare as a pro developer because I have the knowledge of my Azure DevOps organization where the source code should be stored in a repository as well as the project. Furthermore, you see on the right side, there are my deployment environments, which I need to specify. Some URLs here for the validation environment, test environment, production environment. This can be done by me because I am part of the Fusion team together with citizen developers. I can help him to set up this, prepare this. Afterwards, the citizen developer can select the things and use it. When we look to the development lifecycle, the first thing what a citizen developer needs to do during development is he wants to import a Power App or Power Automate flow wrapped in a solution. For this, he uses the source code, maybe stored in a Git repository, and needs to transfer it back to the development environment. For this, he can use easily the import action inside of the tool. And you see, you only have to select the profile previously described. Furthermore, where are the sources located and the folder. We can help him for this. Afterwards, he starts the import of the unmanaged solution because he wants to edit the solution. This triggers a pipeline and pack the solution from the source code, import the solution into Dataverse, and finally it updates the components ownership so the citizen developer can work with its components and modify things. He wants to develop stuff. If he don't need the solution anymore, he can also delete it. For this, he have to press the delete button and confirm that he is knowing what he is doing because of everything is removed from the development environment. This means the solution is installed by kicking off a pipeline, and the pipeline exports first of all the existing solution as managed solution. Afterwards, it deletes the unmanaged solution containing in the Dataverse environment. And this is a very nice idea. It imports again the managed solution and deletes the managed solution to ensure everything is removed from their environment. Because of this is a little bit difficult to understand, you can ask me later in the FAQ. When you remove an unmanaged solution, the solution is gone away, but the components are moved to the default environment, to the default solution of an environment. However, this action ensures that everything is gone from your development environment, and this is important to keep your workspace clean. Let's look about the next thing, saving a solution to source code. Difficult for a citizen developer, but easy done by our magic tool because we want to transfer the solution to the Git repository in the lifecycle. For this, a citizen developer can kick off the commit a solution. This means a profile is selected, he has to enter some release notes. And he can also change here the view by showing the advanced mode. In this case, I have enabled this to show you because its solution is transferred to an own branch of the source code management system. This means it is separated from the normal development, and the base of the separated branch is just the normal target branch for the deployment. Okay. In the background, he kicks off a pipeline. For this, the pipeline publishes all the changes inside of the Citizen Developer Dataverse. It downloads and unpacks the solution and the containing Canvas apps. It stores all the source code in a Git repository, and everything is fine. You have a complete backup of your solution and its components. When you start to create a release, it's the next part of the lifecycle. You see, you take the source code from the repository, you use the build automation, generate an artifact, which means a solutions package, and you release the solution package to a Dataverse environment. This is also very easily done. You can use deploy solution. In this case, you can select a branch and a target branch. Remember, before you have exported your sources to a separated branch. Now you can use your development branch where all works together and say the target branch is the main branch. This means in this case we would create a release from my existing source code from test environment to prod environment. In the background, again a pipeline. In the background, this pipeline exports, uses the source code and imports the created package into the target environment like validation, test, or production environment. Does all the stuff again. To summarize, we have a full lifecycle management for all of us, the citizen developers as well as the pro developers. A stable workflow which works for both, based on the magic of the ALM Accelerator from Microsoft. So thank you for listening and go out, use the superpower, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation. If you have some questions, don't hesitate, use the chat, and I am here for a couple of minutes. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.
Welcome to the Q&A, and thanks, Michael, for this awesome presentation. I just help you a little bit with the questions. But first of all, Michael, thanks a lot for doing the presentation. I learned a lot. So how do you feel about it?
Oh, I'm already super excited, and thank you for moderating today.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. As I said already in chat, I love the ALM topic, and I especially love that you put like the two different, let's say, sides of a medal, right? The pro code and the low code part. And I like that because, well, until now, it was usually ALM a very pro devy thing, right?
It's just a thing for me because I am a pro developer, you know.
Oh man, that was already my first question, Karl. Like, from which direction did you start with this topic? But I think you answered it, right? You're coming from the pro dev, right?
For sure. However, I stumbled into a Power Platform by discovering there's a nice tool. I can set up very quickly Power Apps, but I struggled how to transfer this Power Apps to a production environment. Therefore, I investigated a little bit more to dive into the ALM topic and found out this perfect tool provided by Microsoft.
Ah, cool. Okay. I think you already saw there were a few questions. Let's take a look at that. So I think, first of all, the ALM Accelerator, that was the low-code part you showed there, right?
Yes, right.
I had one question. It is a Canvas app, right?
It is a Canvas app, and it is part of the package from Microsoft, a solution, which is also part of the Zoe Starter Kit, the Center of Excellence Starter Kit, an open source toolkit from Microsoft. It is provided each month, a new release.
Mm-hmm. And Virginia was asking, is it based on Dataverse?
Yes, it is based on Dataverse, and you need a pro developer license because the solution contains tables, and that's why you need a pro developer license or a pro license in Dataverse.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense.
But it is worth to pay this money.
Yeah. I mean, especially since pro developer licenses, they got cheaper with the new licensing model, and you will save a lot of trouble using this, right? Yeah. There was also one question by John, I think a good one. Does this support multiple developers in the same app? Or how is it helping me if I have multiple developers?
It depends on. So it supports basically a multi-developer environment because of you can separate your changes into several branches and bring these branches together to one solution branch. It makes sense to separate the development of one Power App to a single developer because the technology is not where it should be.
Yeah.
But I guess in the next years this will be coming.
Yeah, awesome. And I have one question because you said, I love this ALM Accelerator, right? But if I understood you correctly, you need kind of like one pro dev to set it up because you said, like, for example, for connections and how to share the app. That's something which is set up by a pro dev, or how does that work?
You can set up it directly into this tool. So let me share my screen. I have prepared the correct part. So you should see my ALM Accelerator. And here is a small button where you can set up it as a citizen developer. Because of it collects the information about your solution, which connections you are used, which environments, variables do you have, and you can pre-configure it for your target environments here. You see here the connection references as well as the app sharing, where I should be able to use my app and the component ownership. It's one of the best parts of this tool.
And I think it already looks the part, kind of like also for the usability part, right? As I said, you can't really tell it's a canvas.
Yes.
There was one more question, I think an interesting one by Thomas. And he was asking, what do you think about the general use of solution patches in ALM processes?
I'm not so really sure. I didn't use it right now. So I tried to make my solutions as small as possible and transfer only the managed parts to the next environment to avoid any big troubles of using smaller patches and such stuff.
And Sumit was also commenting in the chat that patches are no longer supported. And I think there's also, I'm not sure about support, but I think Microsoft was telling you kind of like it's best practice. They're not saying that anymore. Kind of like they're encouraging you not to use them, I think.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So I guess we are running out of time. I guess.
Yeah, almost. Maybe a quick question
we don't want to
be kicked out
talk
here, right?
too much. Your session is at 18 o'clock, I guess. So hopefully I'm very curious about this. And thanks DynamicsCon to make this happen. Thanks to our sponsor, and enjoy again this nice day.
Yeah, a lot of other great sessions. And Michael, thanks again for your time doing this session. I learned a lot, and from what I see in the chat, people liked it a lot.
Never stop learning.
Good job. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Awesome. Have a good day. Bye, everybody.